round of applause going for Mr. TIBOR BAUMANN for his film. Congratulations, my friend. I'm going to ask a question that I think is on everyone's mind. What the hell's the matter with you? No, you've done an amazing job. Do have a seat. Let's dig deep into exactly what the hell was the matter with you. Yes, exactly. This is very much a chat between all of us, so if anyone has any questions, please just raise your hand and we'll get a mic to you or we'll have your screen out. So, what's your relationship with the film at this stage? When did it finish? How long has it been since you've seen it on the big screen? How did it play with an Aussie audience against a German audience? Where are you at right now?
So last time I saw it was like, I think December 4th or something like that, last year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it's good to see it that long not, actually. Because to have a little distance, you know, like in the process of editing it and especially to create the little special effects we had in this, especially this transformation from this pictures of the lake. It was so much of seeing it over and over and over again. So there's a certain point where you're really delighted by the thought of, okay, I've seen enough.
Sure.
To see it tonight is like really pretty much a new perspective, I have to say. Like, never saw it in Australia, for sure. But also like to have the feeling of this is our audience and the film is now part of the world. It's just there, and that's pretty amazing because that's the reason why you make, in my opinion, movies. Because like it's to getting out with it. My brother said it yesterday so nicely. Like, we don't make movies to put it in a box. We put movies to put it on screen, and that's actually the way it felt. Like, this is the place.
Great.
That's good.
Very true. It was a pleasure to have you, mate. It was great to see the film with you. You point out your brother. We should note that the sexy girl and the hot guy are your fiance and your brother.
That's absolutely true.
So,
talented people.
Amazingly
talented people.
Were they there from the start? Was it a collaborative effort between you and Leon and Anna and your producer Sarah, who we should sort of credit with so much of what's up on the screen? Tell us about that collaborative working environment.
So it's also like a little bit of a family making, actually. So my brother and I used to do stuff like that since we were like this.
Stuff like that?
Yeah, not exactly, but actually there's a short. No, okay, it's another story. But that's in the box.
That is
there, so that's good.
It's called an evidence file.
Yeah. So, and actually it was the first time Anna and I get to work that much together, which is a pretty intense experience, you know, like being in love with somebody and working with somebody is quite a different thing. So you have to try to make things happen between you. And to be honest, I wrote the part for her. It was pretty clear that this is for her, and afterwards I showed the script. Leon was like, hey, do you want to come along and join the project? And she was like from the beginning there. And also like in terms of Sarah, you didn't saw her on the screen because she's a producer. She was pretty much, she's the person I owe her so much, because like, in terms of, I met her and pitched her several stories and ideas, and she was the first person to come aboard, actually, like, let's do that. And the circumstances to make the movie, oh God, this was difficult. So she was really into it, and she was such a good sparring partner to develop the script, because like, you know, I started in like November, I think October, November 2020 or something like that. The first ideas come, and I showed like a 2-pager to her, and all along the way till I think like May in the next year, I had to develop the script. I wrote like 17 versions of that.
Wow.
So, and in parallel, we already started prepping because we knew we had to take our shooting this summer. So it was in parallel to develop the script and all the other stuff. And it was so good to have Sarah on one side, and also like to know I can rely on my brother, because we know so good everything about each other. And also like to know, to get Anna there on board, because I mean, it's basically she on the screen all the time. So
incredible performance.
So, yeah, it is.
We'll get onto some of the sci-fi techie stuff in a minute. We'll certainly open this up for the questions. But we should point out that Sarah brought to the production a green rule. It's explain exactly the demands, or I guess the only demand that she made on coming on board is that this had to be a sustainable production, a green production.
So there was a chat between us where she went like, you know, if you're doing a movie, it's a green production. And I was like, okay, I don't know what that means. So if that's gonna happen, it's gonna happen. And actually, Sarah has such a green soul and such deep thoughts about our planet, and that goes also for filmmaking. So there's in Germany, like since I think the last couple of years or something, the possibility to develop especially green production. So think really about the pollution you're getting out because of making the movie and how to cut it down to a minimum. And in terms of that, Sarah get an award for that, which is pretty good because she's doing amazing work with that. Especially, it was never like a problem in terms of like getting in the way of her vision or something. It was always like working together to the best, knowing to do a green production. And also we had the whole team on board. You know, like you need like to plan out with the production design. Use as much as you can like sustainable products, reuse something, recycle stuff, and also like in terms like, you know, which shooting techniques you use, stuff like that. And if you get the team on board, it didn't felt, I don't know, other way. It felt always like this is the way we shoot. It's not a problem. It's more like an extra way we do, and that's good.
The German film industry as a whole has a great history, a huge history, but not with films like this. These aren't movies you see coming out of the very top tier of German filmmaking. Why is that? And what are your thoughts on how the German film industry may sort of improve on its output of genre films?
Oh man, that's hard.
Here we go. Here we go.
Yeah, you know, like, so, I mean, there are several genre productions in the film history of Germany.
Oh, sure.
You know, like you think of Fritz Lang, Metropolis, and Nosferatu and stuff like that, and also like in the terms of developing a psychological based thriller, you know, like it's also in the 20s and early 30s. But then all the Nazi shit went down. We know how that goes. And I think this break in our history meant like these people were murdered or go to England, to the USA or to Australia. And the whole process starts over in the early 60s. So there was like a several generation of filmmakers in the 60s. They invented German cinema, German filmmaking from the ground. And that's a good thing. I don't want to criticize that at all. But in terms of genre film, it's a little bit difficult in Germany because I feel it like it's there's a kind of fear for entertainment and for stuff like that because you're getting, I hope so, a little bit overwhelmed from it. And this reminds maybe in a historical sense like getting out of control. And also the German film history is very much about realism. It's very much about a specific type of authenticity. So it's a bit of a problem, but there are changes, and there are strange people like me. I'm also from Germany, so there are several projects that turn these things around. I mean, you guys here know also like Dark. It's a German production, you know, German writers and showrunners. So I think there's a change, but it's very slowly. And I hope always like that it turns out that we don't have to copy certain languages, film languages we know from the States and from other big productions, but to find our own voice in this genre type of movie, because it's so incredible to develop like stories like that, or horror movies or whatever, but find your own voice in it, you know?
Yep.
That's
a great sort of segue into, yes, there's Cronenberg influences in the film there, but you make a great point, and I know I've asked this question a couple of times about the filmmakers that influence you, and how you deal with the massive sort of input of film culture and film history that you've had over time, and how that comes out of you as a director. And can you just say that again? I know I've actually answered this question like 3 or 4 times, but I think it's a great answer in terms of how we treat our heroes and our filmmaking inspirations.
And everything for you.
Oh, what? Yeah, sure.
No, like, so, I mean, we live in times where pop culture is all over us, and we're so, I mean, for my time, I'm so into it. I mean, I smuggled myself into the cinema when I was, I don't know, like 8 or something, or 9 maybe, and watched many movies way too early. So that's inside that. And as it become clear that EXIT PANGEA will really happen, I tried to rewatch everything I thought which was like an impact on me in terms of science fiction, in terms of movie making itself, not so much, but also because I had the thinking like, this is the first time I'm grown enough to decide what kind of director I want to be, what kind of storyteller in terms of movie making. And I tried to get all the pieces that actually are inside me, are an influence to me, to know them, and so to get it out of my system. So to know exactly what kind of movies influence me, so I can build my own voice. And of course there are many, like, you know, like tiny pieces from other movies. I don't know if you saw it, like there's these shots from above on Puya's workplace, and beside the table there's a tiny red pill lying there. It's a red pill of the Matrix, of course. Or like the shot we did, like when Yoro and Puya see for the first time EXIT full grown in the simulation, standing there, and they're going up, and it's like, this is Jurassic Park. You know, it's like it's the same movement. It's like the first watch a dinosaur. So, and stuff like that. But to know that means also like you can work with it, because you know how to use it on one hand, and not only just copying it.
I'm holding all the questions. Does anyone have anything they want to ask at all, or please stick your hand up? Yeah, Kristen does, absolutely.
Just on that note, I just wondered how much fun was it to shoot your fiance reenacting the scene out of The Shining with the axe?
It was.
The question was, how much fun was it to have your fiance doing the scene out of The Shining with the axe?
So first of all, I appreciate that you saw it as Shining, because it's exactly the same shot of Shining. Like the camera is basically a little bit under eye level, and it's making like with a gesture of the actress, in this case like this, and it's all the movement power into that fucking door. So the point was, so here's a story. So we rehearsed that actually. There are plenty of really funny videos, because like we were, okay, we the right kind of door, of course, so she can get through it, you know, because like if you put in there really hard wood or something, so you're working that all day and you're like, oh my god, when it's in that. So we start to try which door, that was fun. Then we start to try which axe, which was fun. And then, you know, like Anna is I don't know if you know that there's a making of video of The Shining where you can see Jack Nicholson get into the mood to run down the door. And actually I was sitting on the set shooting that, and Anna came with that axe and she starts like, and I was like, oh my god, right? Woohoo! Okay, let's roll that, So it's quite fun. It's pretty cool.
Amelia, question, yeah.
Yeah, so you had like 17 variations of the writing of it of the script. I'm wondering whether the final script that you had just before shooting all the way to editing, was there any changes from that final script to the final product?
Is editing the final draft? Is it how much of the final shooting script do we see in the film?
So first of all, I would say like editing is always the final draft. I think always it's also a very good idea to have in certain points, not every time, but in certain points, several people with you in the editing room, like your dramaturg, like, I don't know, mentors, producers, whoever you trust, and whoever's craft is good enough. And actually, so there's a scene. The one scene when Puya is like zooming with Claire, this was pretty hard in editing actually. It was like, I think it's the scene we most edited actually. And it turns out to really cut it down. It was pretty much, not quite double, but it was longer. And this was quite a difference. And you know, there are things developed with my DOP who did an incredible job with his pictures, and also like in terms of finding out in the blocking on set, like the scene when Puya and Yoro stands in for the final battle there, and he's grabbing her and turning her around. We felt like on set, like it's like a dance between them, you know. So she's trying to get away, he's grabbing him, she's trying it again, and all this turn around. It's such a good picture for everything at the time. That never obviously wasn't a script, you know, like things like that. But all in all, it's pretty much the script, pretty much the pictures we intended.
On that point, I'll tell a quick story here. The trip to the Blue Mountains, as wonderful as it was, the intent was to go up there and see a filmmaker who's got a work in progress, and Tibor and I and Sarah Sorella, who directed Memory of Water, which was part of the festival last week, she was over here from Finland, and we sat and watched this work in progress film, and I, being the buffoon I am, just sort of sat there lounging on the couch watching this movie. These two took pages and pages of notes, and when the lights came up, they sort of leant forward and looked at their books and went, right. And they just went through this wonderful series of observations about the films, and you came at it from a dramaturg's perspective and had all this amazing stuff today, and Sarah was from a producer's perspective and what had to stay and what had to go. And I know that Tom, I've spoken to him since, or I've texted back and forth with him since, and he was so grateful for your time and the contribution that you and Sarah made. So thank you for making the Australian film industry a little bit better.
Oh, I appreciate it. So first of all, it takes so much power to get a movie in front of people, even especially if it's not ready, and to take opinions, especially from strangers, you know, like, and Sarah is such an amazing director. Also, I get to know her a little over the great festival here, and I think, like, in terms of speaking about others' work, it's always very important to know, like, movie making is such a hard thing to do, and everybody has their approaches and their stories within they want to tell, and the good thing is always I think, to ask questions, you know, like, this goes for me like that, do you want that? So, and I think, therefore, I'm coming from the writing, my perspective is always from the dramaturg. It's kind of my perspective, I think, when I watch it.
I'm starting to see some people coming in for the 9 o'clock Barbie, so we don't want to get in the way of movie making.
Where's my pink hat?
Yeah, get your pink hat. Yes, question.
Yeah, look, I just want to say congratulations because it was fucking awesome.
Oh,
It was fucking awesome.
I think we've seen too much Marvel, I really do, and to see a piece of science fiction that is just so composed around an idea and an emotion and fearless in pursuing that too, because sometimes I think so many filmmakers go, it's science fiction, it's cold, it's miserable, it's wet and raining, but there's no heart sometimes. And you really stuck to that point, that emotional point from the beginning. I can't reach the other side. What is it? I'm thinking it's a relationship. Suddenly it's a daughter. You know, you're flipping these things all the time. And you've got this wonderful kind of opportunity for hubris in a film, you know, whether it's Frankenstein, you know, the fact I'm creating something but I lose sight of why I'm creating something. She never loses that sight. Impulse, you know, which is such a perfect way of kind of hooking an audience in. And it's a mistake that Altered States made, you know, which I love as a film. I can see influences in there as well, where you are so compelled to follow your vision, but that was always such a male perspective as well. And you've taken it back to the Shelley kind of side. It's like, you know, I want to be able to imbue life and give something as opposed to take something for myself, which was always the, you know, William Hurt's kind of journey in Altered States, you know, so he misses all that, you know, but this, you held it right to the end. And, you know, I want to congratulate you because it's very courageous to do.
Thumbs up. Ian.
Thanks, man. Question, because we're sitting in a theatre bathed in this amazing soundscape of music and the special effects, and it was really, really excellent. It was so good to hear. As a director, how much do you control that, or how much do you just let the guys off the leash and go do their own thing?
Great
pretty
question.
controlling guy. So, no, I'm turning around. So, what I am really is like, I'm a really sound and music-driven guy. So I'm very much, you know, like when I was a child, there was always music at home and always concerts and so. And while we were developing, like in terms of, this is a good example, like I had the vision of this arm of EXIT, like there's a huge system, how do you call it in English, like Schienen, help me out. Rails, thanks, that's the thing, like huge rails on the ceiling of the building. And I was talking in some session about that and everybody was like, yeah, but you know, we can't show that. I said, yeah, but I want to hear that. So in terms of like developing sound and music, we started that really early. And so we had, while shooting, actually only the Sundays free because we have a little bit of a reschedule. And every Sunday I sat down with my composers and my sound supervisor, who'd done an incredible job, and showed them pictures and taught them from what we have shot yesterday and how I think that could sound and so on. So very much of the work got into that. Not so much about controlling, but to be at every time part of this process. And actually I have the feeling like in mixing, which is mixed by Kevin Young, he did also an incredible job in my opinion, was the first time I saw really the movie. You know, like you're sitting down, bring there's a picture, and at this time all the special effects were done. And for the first time you hear it, it's like this massive wall. And that was also intentional because nowadays in Germany it's more like you're making an art house movie, and if there's little music, then it's a good movie. And from time to time that's true, but I was like, I want this wall. I want something that's rushing above you and you can't do anything about it. It's just sitting there and it's droning on you like that. And yeah, we did that.
I've got one more question. I've got the manager here rushing to get me out. I'll be right. One more question. Hang on a second. Your hope for the future. Is this a
In terms of mankind or just for me?
Is this the vision of a man who's hopeful for where technology and mankind are going together? Or is there an inherent conflict and inherent darkness, always some kind of a clash?
Man, you're full of hard questions.
Yeah, that was a good one.
That's really good. So I think while I developed that story, I read so much about AI, but also like simulation theory and stuff like that, and also read everything from Harari again. And in terms of the future, I think that of course we have some difficult times ahead of us, I think. But I like also to think about it like it's a part of our evolution, really. And I think that was also one of the thoughts which was driving me through that process, because like if we only see enemies, like in my world of movies in the 90s, and you know, the Terminator's getting after you, and the Matrix pushing you through whatever, but there's another layer to it, I think. And I hope we get there without that much damage. That would be great.
I could not have been more proud to have hosted the world premiere of your film. You're an incredible filmmaker, you've made an incredible film. Thank you for being here in Australia. Please thank TIBOR BAUMANN. Please hang around afterwards, we're going to chat some more and we'll hang out by the bar there and